Welcome, everyone. My name is Erin Velarde, and I am so psyched for today's event. If you are like me, you are looking for a little hope in the world, a little inspiration right now, a little fun, and some ways to take action in these final 10 days before the November 3rd election. Vote Run Lead has an amazing program for you today. This is Surge to the Polls, a red carpet event. I've got my vote tee on. I'm ready to go. And we are so psyched to see you. I know there are hundreds of women who are tuning in to hear from the formidable Miss Lynn Whitfield, who we are all geeking out over at Vote Run Lead to have her with us. Representative Lauren Underwood, the youngest Black woman ever elected to Congress, and co-founder of Vote Run Lead, Rhonda Briggins, who is going to lead us through this powerful conversation on the power of Black women in this election cycle, in our culture, and how Black women are changing the narrative on film and television and culture and in politics. This event is a coordinated effort between amazing groups. The first one is the Own Your Vote Coalition. So today is Own Your Vote Day, as well as National Early Vote Day. Own Your Vote Coalition is a coalition of amazing members across the United States, from the NAACP to the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, as part of the Oprah Winfrey Network, getting out the vote by energizing Black women and all of the women and people that they touch across America. It is also in partnership with the Athena Film Festival. Those of you who don't know the Athena Film Festival, it is a one and only, it is a 3-day film festival, really one of the only ones in the country, and I think in the world, where you are seeing not only women-led films, women-created films, women-directed films, but women leaders at the center of the documentaries of the films that get presented there. And they have such big stars as, you know, Ava DuVernay and Gloria Steinem was there this year for their 10th anniversary. And we want to thank the Athena Film Festival at Barnard College for supporting. And finally, this is also in partnership with Surge the documentary. It is an amazing documentary that covers 3 women. It's done by Hannah Rosenweg and Wendy Sachs. It follows 3 congressional candidates in Texas, Indiana, and Illinois, who were each looking to flip their deep red districts blue. And the Illinois candidate, of course, was the infamous Lauren Underwood, a Vote Run Lead alumni, and one of the most beautiful stories to come out of the 2018 election. So we are so grateful to all of our partners, to the Own Your Vote Network. We're tweeting live with hashtag Own Your Vote, to the Oprah Winfrey Network and the Own Your Vote Coalition and the amazing work that's being done there. And of course, to our moderator, who I want to bring on screen right now. Can we do that? All right. My dear friend, my longtime co-founder of Vote Run Lead, board member Rhonda Briggins, who you have seen, you have heard. If you have not, you're living under a rock. She is the co-chair of the National Social Action co-chair for Delta Sigma Theta Inc., the amazing sorority that is turning out not only hundreds of candidates, but hundreds of thousands of women to the polls. She has been a longtime board member and co-founder of Vote Run Lead. She has helped shape our curriculum from day one. She is the mom of Kai, who will one day be on television, and I get to say I knew him when, who is an amazing young man that she is raising. She is based out of Atlanta, Georgia, but has done activism since her very early days, coming out of Alabama and the Deep South. She is a lawyer. She is a lobbyist that got billions of dollars for public transportation, billions of dollars for public transportation. And she is going to talk to us a little bit more about the Own Your Vote Coalition and get us started, as we soon will welcome Miss Lynn Whitfield and Lauren Underwood. So hi, Rhonda, welcome.
Hey, Erin, how are you?
I'm great.
Yes, the partnership with Own Your Vote has been absolutely amazing. And as you know, Erin, over the years, we have all of these different partnerships and we're part of all these coalitions, but this one has just been I think, life-changing for all of us that have participated. The network has been in the process of creating content like I've never seen before. The level of creativity, the amount of engagement and details to all of the work that we have been doing to really highlight it in a great way. But also they've been capturing history like never before. And so I'm just so excited that Vote Run Lead could be a part of that. process. Aaron and I had the great opportunity to go in and train the staff of OWN about this work, the work that we do at Vote Run Lead, really talk about leadership and how important it is to have women empowered in this way. And so I'm just very thankful of this process. So shout out to everyone at the OWN network, the president, Tina Perry, and all of the folks that have worked with us over these last couple of months. It's just been amazing and so much fun. I'm just proud of the work that they've had. But more importantly, I'm proud that they are investing in November the 3rd and making sure that we're all doing all that we can to get the vote out. So we're going to have fun today as we surge to the polls. As you all know, this is also National Voter Registration Day. So
no, National Early Vote Day. National Early Vote.
National Early Vote Day. Okay, so many of them. Yeah. National Early Vote Day. All right. Early Vote Day.
I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to hop back on at the end and give you our 10 ways to own your vote, our collaboration between Vote Run Lead and the Oprah Winfrey Network Coalition. So thank you, Rhonda. Take it away.
All right. Well, again, we are here today to surge to the polls, and we're so excited. Today, we're going to make sure that we talk about all of the things that you could do to get to the polls. But more importantly, we're going to talk about how Black women are really changing the culture of this day and this time. As you all know, everybody's been talking about Black girl magic. And so you are seeing Black girl magic everywhere. Every time you turn on the television. And during this election cycle, we have seen Black girl magic at its highest level. But I would be remiss if I wouldn't talk about the past and some of my old sheroes. Miss Juanita Abernathy, who is the wife of Ralph David Abernathy, she often said that Black women helped to save America from itself during the civil rights movement. And you are seeing that same type of caring and feeding of Black women from all over the country as they are in power, in position. They are making sure they have a seat at the table, that they are in the process of decision making, showing their leadership like never before, activating the base and on the ground, moving people to the polls in every way in which they can, making sure that during those long lines of people standing in the polls during this early voting phase, you'll see many of them out there giving out water, making sure folks are eating, that they have a seat and somewhere to sit and be comfortable until it's their turn to vote. But what they're doing is ensuring that everyone has the right to exercise their vote. And so I'm very excited and really happy that that is going on. And when you talk about us coming together, I've never seen our community so unified than we are right now at this time. We have been coming together with all of these different coalitions, everyone working together, just like we are with Own Your Vote, in a coalition that is made up of so many great organizations, the NAACP, many of the sororities, NCNW, Higher Heights, the faith communities, and the list just goes on and on. But everyone is working together on one common goal. And that goal is November the 3rd, that we will have the highest number of voter participation than we've ever had in history. And if you've already seen during early voting, and today is National Early Voting Day, you've seen lines across this country stretched for miles and miles away because people are determined to get out and vote. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. Our first day, you saw it all over the news, where the lines were extremely long, and but people stayed and they voted. People put online all of their stickers that I voted. People were online talking about it took them 10 hours, but they stayed. And so we're encouraging you all to stay. We encourage you all to get out and make sure you exercise your right to vote. And if you have any problems at the poll, there are so many people out there to help you. The Election Protection Coalition number is 866-OUR-VOTE, 866-OUR-VOTE. So make sure you have that number on speed dial if you experience any issues and any problems at the polls. But we're here to surge our votes. So I'm so happy. And as I said, that look who's on the line. Yay!
Hi, Rhonda.
Hi. Lynn. All right, so happy to have you all. We're just making sure and kind of warming the seat up till you got here. But look how amazing you all look. You look great. I'm going to quickly introduce you and we're going to get into our some questions. Okay. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So I'm going to start with you, Lynn, because you've been my shero in so many ways with over the years watching you as you have put your craft all over the television and entertainment, changing culture, showing us ways that the church can have all of its aspects of churchiness. And so I have enjoyed it. I make sure I get home to watch you all the time. So I can't wait to. I hate that is ended, but we'll see. We'll see what's next for you. But we've seen you over the years in a thin line between love and hate. One of my favorite. All of these are my favorite. Eve Bayou, Stepmom, Head of State, The Women, and my favorite, you playing Lady May. Love it, love it, love it. You're also the recipient of 7. Let me put my hand up. You can't even hold them. 7 NAACP Image Awards. And so we're so happy that you're here. Again, thank you so much for all that you've done for the community. We all love you as Lady May, and we all have Lady May in our churches and in our lives, and we know Lady May. And so, but thank you for that. I think you showed us the different levels and the complexity of just being a woman. And so you, and I really appreciate you for that. Next, we have on the stage another person we should be so proud of, and that's Congresswoman Lauren Underwood. Yay!
Thank you.
Say congratulations. You have been killing it, sister. Serves as Illinois' 14th Congressional District.
Yeah.
Just sworn in to the 116th U.S. Congress in January 2019. You are the first woman of color and the first millennial to represent your community in Congress, the youngest African-American woman to serve in the United States House of Representatives. And she is also an alumni of Vote, Run, Lead.
Yes, ma'am.
Extremely proud of you. So not only did you go into Congress being the youngest, right?
That's right.
You came in just kicking butt, introduced 42 pieces of legislation. Now I'm a lobbyist, so I know that's a lot of work. But you actually passed 15 out of the House. And so let me tell you, it takes a lot. Creating legislation is like creating sausage. So it's this long, tedious process. So to get 15 bills out of the House and so early and not even have seniority of what they would say in Congress, that is absolutely amazing. But even to have the 42 pieces introduced is amazing in itself. So
well, thank you. We got 4 signed by President Trump, and we're keeping going. This is not the time for us to ease back. Our communities need a lot of help. They're expecting us to get some things done. And so it's been an honor to be able to serve.
Well, I am so proud of you again, and I'm in government and community relations. I know how hard that is. I tell people often, you have so many people serving, but I'm like, how many bills did you pass? So you're already there with passing legislation that's impacting our community, making sure that we're doing what we need to do when we serve office. You've gone in. Shirley Chisholm always say, if they don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Well,
right.
Out the way, push the folding chair in, and you are knocking out down the gavel. So I am so appreciative of everything that you are doing. Both of you are just absolutely amazing. This has been the year of the Black woman. We've been talking about, Black girl magic. You all ooze Black girl magic. And we're very proud of you. When young Black women see you, they know that they could do it. Lauren, to be that young in Congress, people could say, I can do that. So thank you for that. And Ms. Whitfield, we've seen you over the years, and I don't know what's wrong. The one thing, let's say this really quickly, you don't age. So Black don't crack, but dang, girl, you still looking like a thin line over there.
But you know what? When you are still excited about what your purpose is and what your walk is
as long as you stay excited and engaged. I think that has a lot to do with not getting jaded and, tired and over it. And I just still love what I'm doing. I still love acting and how I can contribute and help to change the culture, light I can shed on Black women. And lately, like with Lady May, women just hadn't seen women who are in charge with family, with a purpose. And they say, why is she so hard? It's got to be her way. I said, well, I don't know if people ask Queen Elizabeth why she's going to protect her kingdom. I don't know if, other people, why a Black woman who is concerned about legacy and what is instilled in her kids and them moving forth in a path that is good for them and the family and the community, so I get to do that. So I think that helps me not have wrinkles.
Well, you look amazing. So we are here today to surge to the polls.
Yes.
I'm going to get in here and talk about, ask you both, like, how important has Black women's civic engagement been throughout this election? What have you been out there seeing, when it talks about the engagement of Black women? Lauren, we're going to start with you and then we'll come over to you, Lynn, okay?
Okay. Yes. So, Black women, we have moved beyond just being voters. We are candidates across the country. There are more Black women running for Congress this year than ever before. And so chances are, no matter where you live, you got a Black woman that you can vote for a local office, a state office, and obviously a federal office if you choose. And this is something that we are really proud of because, we have been contributing in our communities for so long. We have stepped up and led in circumstances to, move us through challenges or move us through, times of difficulty. And I'm just proud to be part of this movement in the country to show folks that it is possible. The community that I represent is not a Black community. My district is less than 3% Black. And so it shows there's no ceiling to our leadership, that we can be these bridge builders and that we can build the coalitions to be elected. And, I think that my colleagues in the House, Lucy McBath, Johanna Hayes, right? We are shattering these previously held definitions of electability, right? Viability. And I think that that's what's so exciting about this moment.
That's awesome. All right. What about you? What do you think for Black women in civic engagement, Lynn?
Well, I think, throughout time, we can go back to Mary McLeod Bethune. I mean, we have always been, because we are holding up our communities, all over this country. We always have since the 1800s, 1900s. So now coming in to today, women are using their platform. Women like you, Miss Rhonda, that you get, you move up the corporate ladder. There's so many of you now moving up the corporate ladder and using your platform to then engage in the community and the activities of the community and the direction that our community is going. So I feel like, they've depended on Black women all these years through so many elections. This is not the first one, right? And we are just nurturing and supporting and bringing forth. Now, what makes me so happy is that there are people like Congresswoman Underwood here, who then, you have an ear, that now we have a place to go when we want to talk about healthcare in our communities, and knowing that you understand healthcare professionals, we can come to you and say more nurse practitioners in our community, so it's an interesting question of the engagement now, but our engagement has always been so strong, and it's a continuation of it. And just the powerful people like you, Rhonda, who are in the community, who still care, who move forward and reach back and bring up the community. It's just even more women involved. And it's really very exciting because now we have a clear path to change legislation, because there's so many young women coming in and being elected into office. So it's like, they have their back channels. We have our back channels now.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I love it. Yes.
And it's just very exciting. So yeah, Black women, as usual, we're changing the game.
I love it. I love it. So we're changing the game. And thank you, Ms. Whitfield, because you've corrected me even in your speaking. It is Congresswoman Underwood. So let me make sure during this, I'll probably give you your due. Yes, I am.
No. I just like it coming out of my mouth.
I like
giving the
I'm like, that's right.
Yeah.
I was like, let me correct my language. That's right. You deserve it. That's right. So, Congresswoman Underwood.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you seeing on the ground?
Well, we are seeing enthusiastic early vote. I mean, it is off the charts. Off the charts. And so, there's been so much confusion, what's going on with the post office? Where can we go and drop off our ballots? We're hearing these reports about lines for early voting, and people have questions, but they are not deterred, right? They are making their plan to vote and then executing, right? Because we know that we will not be silenced. This is our opportunity to make a difference. And people are making their plans and casting their vote. And so on the ground, the energy is high, the enthusiasm is high. And no matter how you choose to vote, whether it's at home or by mail, right, voting early or on election day, November 3rd, the key is make a plan and then get to it because we cannot wait.
That's awesome. So I'm going to kick it over to you. So with everything that's going on, everyone seems like they're engaging this cycle in this election process. So Lynn, how does the media and entertainment, all of those things, how are they impacting the decision of voters out there? Do you think they're changing folks' minds with everything that's going on?
I am one of those people who say, people who are actors or artists or musicians or whatever, we're also citizens. So the authority with which I speak is merely as a citizen of this country. Being able to deliver a good line or a good song doesn't necessarily mean that you've done your homework to study policies and platforms and know what's going on. But I can tell you this, I have never had so many Zoom it's really, the engagement is so high. I look on Instagram and I see so many of my coworkers out there in conversations like this, reaching out. It's really, I thought that what is going to happen in the time of COVID and this pandemic, which a pandemic that was so unnecessary, by the way,
right.
That we are all at home like this, which is another reason why November 3rd is so important, that we change this and do what we need to do. But I said, how is this going to work? And I'm actually reaching more people than I reached as surrogates for President Obama and for Hillary, getting on trains and planes and buses and all of that. I'm reaching more people. So, in this thing that is so limiting, I think there may be some blessings that we can, in a very focused way, spending less money. I can use my platform, really all of it, and all the people who know me, because they wouldn't be in Philadelphia or places that I've been sent on, or churches and all of that. But now I think artists are really doing amazing work because they can just sit at home and use their platforms and continue to speak to, we can speak to our followers and get the word out that way. So out of this real horrible thing is coming some blessings, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and I absolutely agree. Yes. People are, now I'm kind of zoomed out, but we go.
I know, but people are listening. They are listening.
All right, my next question to you all, and you talked about this a few minutes ago of how important it is to have a vote plan. So, Congresswoman Underwood, do you have a vote plan for yourself, and have you voted? And this question is for both of you. Do you have a vote plan for yourself, and have you voted?
Yes, I voted. I dropped off my ballot on October 5th. Which was the first Monday that I was back in my district from having done some work in Washington on Capitol Hill. And so, I had requested my ballot over the summer. So I had eagerly awaited its arrival. I had been looking up all the candidates. But when I had it in hand, I was even taken aback by the number of judges, because in my state in Illinois, we elect judges. And so I had to do some homework. So I spent the day before and just took some time with my ballot and looked up every position to make sure that I was comfortable with who I was supporting and that I was informed. That's why I like voting from home, because you have that space and time to really do the research we all like to make sure and just double check, right? and so I dropped it off, and then I was able to check online and make sure that it was logged by the county clerk. So we are all set. My vote has been cast, and now my job is to just encourage others to take advantage of this opportunity to vote.
All right. What about you, Lena? You have a voting plan? Have you voted, Chet?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I didn't know where I was going to be. So I was registered in Louisiana. And I started trying to figure out what is going to happen, because we don't move around that much. When it ended up, okay, I'm going to be here and in where I am. And I said, okay, I've got to do this. And I looked up, and the time was growing close to do registration. So I got in my car at 8:30 in the morning. I drove down to the Attorney General's office. They said, oh, well, we're not accepting individual registrations. I said, but why? That's not what it said. That's not what the print said. It said, I come here and I can register. So I registered. I registered for my absentee ballot at the same time. I got it. I went yesterday, and I did exactly what you said, Congresswoman. I had to look, because where I am, there were some emergency replacements or people.
Yep.
So there was lots of names yet that I didn't quite know. And so then I had to research that and see who they were, see, if they didn't have enough of a platform, who was endorsing them, whose platform I do care about. So yesterday, I took my ballot and put it in that ballot box, and I am done. But it really was about 3 weeks of really focusing on what am I going to do? And we don't have that now. So whoever's watching, if you didn't register, well, that's a problem. But now just be sure that the plan is in place for going. And if you're going to go and vote in person, just encouraging people to have everything they need, an extra battery for their phone, to stay hydrated, bring snacks, an umbrella, a coat, depending on where you are. Just be prepared to sustain yourself for as long as it takes to get it done.
Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. Exactly. That's what we need. Now,
so can I just make a suggestion? We know that there's a lot of people who are not sure what to do, whether it's they don't know how to request their ballot to vote from home. They don't know where to go to the nearest drop box. They don't know where their early polling place is or where their election day polling place is, because we know there's been some movement because of COVID, right? Your polling place may have changed because it needed to be bigger or not in a nursing home or something like that. So we're encouraging everybody to go to iwillvote.com. iwillvote.com, and you just put in your address, and it gets you all that information. And it will also, yes, ma'am, and it will connect you to your county or your local election authority. So then you can take a look at your ballot, and you can begin that research now, so that everybody is an informed voter, that you can use that plan to vote.
Right. When I went to the Attorney General's office, they sent me to the county board of elections for my county.
Yes.
So that is there. And it was so easy. So the more, all politics are local. So I think the closer we can get to our county or parish or whatever it is, that board of elections, to get the information specifically, it really was very, very helpful to me and very exciting.
That's awesome. So we're often told, vote like our lives depend on it. But why? What's at stake?
So healthcare's on the ballot, right? The safety in our communities, they're on the ballot, right? Gun violence prevention, climate change, bouncing back from COVID-19, our ability to crush this virus, it's on the ballot, right? There's a whole women's economic agenda, paid leave and equal pay and affordable childcare, right? Those things are on the ballot. And so, there's a lot of issues that we just don't hear elected officials talking about. We don't hear politicians putting in their commercials, but it doesn't mean that they're not important and that their votes won't make a difference in your life. And so there are criminal justice reform. And, there's this country is so divided right now. There is just racism. There is this deeply rooted partisanship. And we have the opportunity to elect people who are committed to bringing us together, to healing our country. And that's on the ballot. That's what's at stake. This is so significant.
And for me, when you say vote like your life depended on it, then just look at your life. I can look at my life as a Black woman. Yes, I want equal pay. I can look at my life as a daughter of an 87-year-old mother. So I am very concerned about healthcare and what is going on with this pandemic. I am the mother of a millennial. I am very concerned. So if you look at your life, I'm very concerned that she have access to healthcare. I'm very concerned that she gets to decide what happens with her own body. So if we really look at our lives and say, what are our needs as citizens? And look for those platforms and policies that affect us. It's politics is not this big thing of like, oh, I don't know what all the small print is. It is very important that we personalize platforms and policies and how they affect what we're doing. And I think sometimes we don't really go through that process of looking to see what it is we need as citizens and what correlates and how we need to vote in order to protect ourselves. So yeah, our lives and the quality of our lives is on the ballot right now. The quality of the lives of our young Black men is on the ballot right now. Our seniors, our millennials, it's just the way life is. Life has never been like this in America for all the decades I've been here. I won't talk about how many decades that is, but I mean, it's never been like this before. Americans have never been called upon to have to wear a mask. And you see how indulgent we can be of our individuality. But this is a new day in America, and our lives and the quality of our lives, definitely our vote is important to change where we are right now.
And you know what? There's people watching who live in states where they've had numerous barriers to voting, right? So it's not always a lack of interest, that there is voter suppression. This is a real thing. But guess what? If our votes weren't powerful, if our voices weren't powerful, if we didn't have the ability to transform this nation, they would not be trying to silence us. So what this means is that plan to vote has to be locked in, right? That you have accounted for. If you're going to vote in person, you've given yourself enough time so that if there's a delay at your polling place, that you brought that voting chair, as Mrs. Obama said, you packed that snack, you have your water, you have your snack with you, right? So that you're ready to vote. Because as Black women, you know what it can be like in your communities and the barriers that can be in front of us to casting our vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And, I just always remind people that I don't know where, this word minority comes from, because when we add it all up, women and Black people and Latin people and all the brown people of the world, we are the majority. And so when we ask, and if obstacles do come up, we ask expecting an answer that we're not going to be stopped, that we're not a second-class citizen, we're not a minority, we are extremely powerful, and that is what all this fear is about. That is what all this suppression is about. So we just have to know with authority that we're supposed to get to the ballot box and be heard, and don't be dissuaded from it.
That's right.
Sometimes we get to feeling so beat up and discouraged, and so sad with so many things that have gone on, in our country right now, that we can be slightly turned away, or does it really matter? It matters so much. It matters so much that all manner of suppression is being imposed to stop us, because it really matters, and we can really do this. We can do it, but it's going to take every vote.
That's awesome. That is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to stay with you, Lynn, really quickly. How have you seen the representation of Black women on screen change recently with everything that's going on with all of our new allies? Have you seen any changes in Hollywood?
Well, my goodness, it's so exciting. Look at Lena Waithe in 20s. Look at, look at Ava DuVernay and all that she's doing. Shonda Rhimes, Debbie Allen, Oprah, having her own network. It's really been changing, because there's so many women now behind the scenes, and those that are, coming up now through the ranks, writers, showrunners, cinematographers, directors. So it's definitely changing. And I just say that, it's a continuum, though. It's a continuum that we come with these fresh stories, be they historical or not. Harriet Tubman was incredible. Produced by a Black woman, Deborah Martin Chase, directed by Casey Lemon, and a really interesting look, because it was as much a film about gender bias as it was racial bias. And that it just came through. So yes, it's a very extremely exciting time for activism of all sorts within our storytelling, and I'm excited about it.
That's great. So we're here to talk about Surge to the Polls. So Congresswoman Underwood, you were one of the featured candidates in the Surge documentary. And we saw you go through all of the different obstacles that you had to go through during that documentary on your campaign. Now that you're in Congress, what type of obstacles have you been seeing, and what have you been faced with, and how are you dealing with all of that?
Thanks for that question. I always say Congress, in the original days of this country, the only people that were eligible to serve in Congress were wealthy white male landowners, right? And so there's a lot about the culture of this institution that is rooted in that kind of elite privilege from those origin days of America. So, I think it's encapsulated in a phrase, reclaiming my time, that was popularized culturally by the great Maxine Waters. But it's really a tool that we have as members to use in questioning witnesses, right? The only people that you routinely hear having to invoke that phrase, reclaiming my time, are women, particularly the younger women and the women of color, right? And so often I think that our class has really, when I say our class, the newly elected members, right? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for example, Katie Porter with her whiteboard, right? We have become well known for holding administration and other people accountable for their actions. And yet people are trying to talk over us, right? They're trying to waste our time. They are trying to, deny their role in, so many of the challenges in our day. And we have to remind them, I am a member. I have some questions. This is my time. I will reclaim it, right? And I think that, unfortunately, this is something that we continue to battle with as women in these positions of power. But now there is a cohort, right? And we are now a full quarter of the Congress. There needs to be more, right? We need parity at a minimum, but I think that we could even go beyond that to be fair. But yeah, it's a tough environment, that's for sure.
You know what I love? I love though, even though you're saying how hard it is and all the resistance, you have this broad smile on your face that you are.
Bring it on. That's that bring it on look.
Yeah, it's that bring it on look. Like, yes, there's gender bias, there's racial bias, but we're finding our way and we have our techniques and we're doing it. And that gives me such encouragement, that our concerns will be heard, So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
That's awesome. And for you, Lynn, for young, inspiring artists during this time of civil unrest, wanting to get into Hollywood, what would be some words of encouragement you would give them? How do they get over these obstacles? How do they use these platforms now?
Well, I feel that it's most important to gain a platform through excellence, through actually doing the work, through learning the work, so that whatever comes at you, you can reclaim your time and do it your way and say it and with authenticity. So that means in what I do, technique is very important. Knowing how to do it well. I mean, I know acting is just walking and talking, but there's a lot more involved in it. And then I would say, as a human being, deciding what you feel about the world and how you want the world to feel about you, and embracing that within yourself, because a lot of the activism that we have is within the work. It may be changing a sentence. It may be just very subtle things, because a picture's worth 1,000 words. So really realizing how we don't sell ourselves out in very subtle ways. It's not even big ways, And it doesn't mean that we have to be reverent to things all the time or holier than thou. It simply means that there's an activism within your work that protects the integrity of our people and our purpose and how we're viewed. And it doesn't even mean that you have to be perfect all the time, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it's how you do it that matters, how it's presented, the truth.
I love that. You have a social and moral responsibility to your community. I love it.
Yes, you do. You do have a social moral responsibility to the community, but it's a kind of integrity within the art that I think can make a big difference in how it is. And it doesn't mean that you can't, be a player, but it just means what you carry within you, it comes out. It does. That's so awesome. It's a kind of intangible thing, but it really is magic that works.
I love it. Congresswoman Underwood, we had a question that came through, and it talked about, running for office. Sometimes you lose. How do you bounce back after a loss and still want to be engaged? And they want a little direction from you on how do you stay positive and just like we just said, you talking about obstacles with a big smile on your face. So
yes.
how do you bounce back after all of that?
You know what's so interesting? In the film Surge, there's three of us that are profiled, right? Jana Lynn Sanchez, Liz Watson, and myself. Well, Jana Lynn and Liz, they did not win their congressional campaigns. However, they have some of the most compelling scenes in the film because you see the humanity, you see the struggle, and you see the progress that they made in their communities. So much so, those communities are now highly competitive in the 2020 election. And so I want us to reframe the way that we view success and realize that sometimes our purpose is in the journey and bringing others along with us and demonstrating that we have power and that we can affect change. And, you know, just because you might have a temporary no, right? A loss, temporary saying no, does not mean that you have been totally rejected and you need to remove yourself from public service. We need you to come back and to continue to serve. I always tell people to pursue the work, let the work guide you. Right. So many times we chase positions or titles or money, and we lose sight of the impact that we want to have. And so, you know, my mission in life, my life's work is to help improve the health and well-being of the American people. That is who I am, and that is what I do. I'm a nurse, and I bring that energy to my work. Now, I happen to be a congresswoman right now, but when this time is done, I will still be able to help people have healthy, well lives, right? And I think that whoever asked that question, identify your purpose, as Lynn was talking about, identify your purpose and let that guide you at each step, because you will always be successful if you are staying true to yourself in that kind of core fundamental way.
That's awesome. Our last question before we wrap up, and I'm going to let you all after this question give us your final thoughts. But how do you energize your family and friends who are saying they're not voting? And we have a lot of folks saying they're not voting. So what would you say to those folks before we leave?
Well, one, don't discount the power that you have. There are in all of our lives people that only we can reach, that they are not going to be persuaded by an advertisement. They are not going to be persuaded by some message that they get on social media. But if we appeal to them because of our unique relationship, that bond, that love that we share, that they will listen. And so we have to be fearless. We have to be persistent and, you know, play our role in their lives, right? And so for some people, they say they won't vote because it seems too complicated. They don't know what to do. And so we can help show them, right? We can lead by example. For some people, they may be thinking of casting a vote in a way that actually harms our lives. So we have to be willing to be vulnerable and share that with those people in our lives, how much their vote matters and our ability to be able to move forward together, right? We cannot give up on those people that are closest to us. We can't do it. No. So we have 10 days left to convince those folks to show up at the polls. But sometimes, ladies, this means that we got to go together with them. So even if you already voted, maybe make a plan to stand in line with that person in your life to make sure that they are willing to cast their ballot too.
Yes. I think in this regard, it's when people feel what I said before, they feel undermined, they feel underappreciated, they feel silenced, disengaged. And that's where we as people who feel responsible and understand the power of it, our people skills come in. And the people skills and our ability to reach them and personalize the importance of their vote, as I said before, to make it very personal to their lives, to see that if they cast a vote and enough of us all together change things, because I think a lot of it comes from the beatdown. People get so beat down that it either becomes disengaged and I don't care, it doesn't matter, undermined. And it's a matter of sort of rather being highly debative or combative, but being very personal and building them up to understand that they have personal power to change things in education, in our healthcare, in our household, how we feel about ourselves, how protected we feel, how guarded we feel, the homes the roofs that we have over our heads. It is important because HUD is important, and what you vote is important, and who appoints that cabinet is important. And so it's kind of connecting the dots for everyone. And it really does sometimes take the patience of Job. Sometimes I'm just like, oh Lord, please give me the patience, not to but because this is all community based. Politics are local, down to your home and your immediate family unit. And I think we've got to break it down that far sometimes. I remember going to a barbershop in 12, right? And I went to a barbershop. I'm like, okay, these guys, they do not look like, I know they love rock and everything, but I don't know, they don't look like. I said, do you want your girlfriends to have access to birth control? Yeah. I'm like, well, okay. Then you getting out there and voting is important, because being able to control your narrative and the narrative of the women in your lives, that's important. Being able to get a job is important. Being able to walk outside and feel down ballot that you are safe when you walk in the street, that's why you go vote. So just making it personal on whatever way, like they said with Paul, when he was walking in the, you've just got to walk with the people and figure out how to reach into their hearts and, embellish within them the authority to make a difference, that they have power. And that's what I do. And it's fun because I love people. So I like doing it, and when it works, it's just so amazing. We end up with a congresswoman like you, and so you can see it happen before your eyes. And fortunately now we have one horror story, but we have so many wonderful golden stories before us as examples of what happens how our vote can change what something looks like and what happens. So long story short, you just have to have patience and keep reaching until you reach a pulse in a human being where they understand it, where they feel it. They feel the power, they feel their importance,
All right,
that's right.
We're gonna let this is it. So we're gonna have some closing words from both of you. This was absolutely amazing. I am so happy that I was honored to do this with you ladies today. Again, you are both absolutely amazing. We're getting all sorts of different messages coming in, talking about how you're an inspiration. So let's just give everyone some closing words, and thank you for being here on behalf of Vote Run Lead. Thank you for this partnership with OWN and everything that you're doing for our community, because we are surging to the polls and making sure we get out on November the 3rd. So we're going to start with you, Congresswoman, and then we're going to end with you, Ms. Whitfield.
Well, thank you, Rhonda. What a treat it's been to be on with you this afternoon. Lynn Whitfield, you are just a joy and a treasure, and I hope to see you again soon. Everybody, ladies, we have a lot of work to do. 10 days. We have to vote. Get your neighbor, get your girlfriend, get your sorority sister, get your church mate, get your best friend, and make sure that everybody has their plan to vote. Give them the website, iwillvote.com. And the last thing I'll say is this. We have a lot of work to do. We need to be here to do it. And we know that COVID is real and it is circulating all around our communities. Wear your mask, please. Impeccable hand hygiene. Stay 6 feet apart and get your flu shot. Get your flu shot. Okay. Be well, everybody.
So great. So I just want to say to everyone here that you are so important. You are so important to what this country can look like. We need your voice. We need the work that you've already been doing. And we need you to get out, plan your vote, vote, help your community to vote. And I need you to look in the mirror and say, I matter. I love me. I am not a minority. I am a majority. I have power, and I am going to use it in this election. I love you all. You've been so supportive of my career, of your communities. That you're here today listening means that we're all on the same page. So I'm preaching to the choir. But let's walk in love. Let's walk in light. And let's walk with authority that we can change things. And this election can work for us if we do the work.
Thank you, everyone. This was absolutely amazing. I think Erin's going to come back on and give you all about 10 things you could do in your communities as you go to the polls, because we're surging to the polls. Thank you for this wonderful red carpet event, and make sure you go and see the documentary Surge. Thank you.
OMG, Rhonda, that was amazing. I don't know if you can come back on, Rhonda, but that was exactly what I needed today. I am like, my phone is blowing up. Our Facebook page is blowing up. People like, we don't even need these 10 tips, because they really, the Congresswoman Underwood and Miss Whitfield really laid out, I felt like, the personal case and those action items. You know, hearing Lynn Whitfield talk about what it took for her to sort of figure out where and how to vote is the reality right now. So I want to thank you, Rhonda, as well. That was an amazing conversation. And I felt like there were so many tangible things that came out of that for us to take action on. So thank you so much, Rhonda.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you, Own.
Right. I am going to try to share my screen, y'all, so we can actually see this 10 ways. Can you see that? Is that possible? No? You seeing that? I think you are seeing that. All right. So 10 ways to own your vote. It's a little teeny tiny. I am going to try to blow this up. But, you know, if you haven't registered, whoop, whoop, there are some states where you can still register. There are plenty of states that have same day registration. That is something to absolutely check out. If you are not registered, go ahead and register now so you can vote in your local elections that are going to come any minute around the corner. Did you complete your census? You know, the 31st is the date. That is the deadline, Halloween, for census.gov. So make sure you can do that. Are you asking 5 friends? You heard Representative Underwood talk about your church, your sorority, your community, your neighbor. I was so surprised to find out how many of my friends actually were unsure about how to vote because of so many changes. Go to voterunlead.motivote.us for easy tools on how to do that. Just put it into Google. Everybody and their mother's got voting resources. Make sure that you are checking, though, that those resources are nonpartisan and that those folks, you know, can be trusted. So Lauren talked about this. I thought this was really critical. Researching the voting rules, the options in your state, early voting, and, you know if you can show up at the polls and register that day, how you can actually track your ballot if you have mailed it. We are going to have to spend some time. You even heard Congresswoman Underwood spend some time to think about the judges in her community that she was a little bit unfamiliar with. So Ballot Ready is a fantastic resource. So make your voting plan. Rhonda talked about 866 Our Vote. There's a bunch of voting tools on how to do that. Vote411.org is another amazing tool. And then, of course, get involved. So you can volunteer with us over at Vote Run Lead. I think it might be over to become a poll worker, but if that is something you want to do, make sure you check with your communities to see if you can become a poll worker. But also, if you are just looking for something to do, Vote Run Lead is phone banking. We want you to call folks around the country with us. Check out voterunlead.org events. If you're on our email list, you get all my millions of emails. You know, make sure that you click through that link to send us when you want to actually phone bank with us. We have a couple opportunities coming up. And we also have a text-a-thon with a bunch of partners on Halloween. That is going to be specifically texting voters in Georgia, so where Rhonda is living and breathing. We may even text Rhonda because we got her cell phone number. So there are 3 opportunities, 2 phone banks and a text-a-thon with Vote Run Lead right up until Election Day. We'd love for you to get involved. Check out voterunlead.org to find out all the information. And finally, please head over to Amazon and check out Surge. You can see more of Miss Lauren Underwood, Congresswoman Underwood, in her journey for her first race. She is in re-election right now. If you want to know more about that, of course, please Google her. All of our Vote Run Lead alumni love any support you can give them, any love you can show them in your personal capacity. And of course, if you want to see more of Miss Lynn Whitfield, head over to, binging Greenleaf for the second time, as I might do. So thank you to the Athena Film Festival. Thank you to the Own Your Vote Coalition. Today is National Own Your Vote Day. Today is National Early Vote Day. All of the things. Take a picture. This is a t-shirt that Rebecca Minkoff has created for Vote Run Lead. You want to check that out? We'd love for you to purchase one. Proceeds, of course, go to BRL. We're so grateful for that. Grateful for our friends, Hannah and Wendy at Surge, to Melissa at Athena, and to every one of the coalition members of Own Your Vote, and of course, the amazing team at BRL. Thank you all very much, and thank you for being with us and sharing the love. Get out and vote.